Hey guys, so I realized I did my book Bible setup videos and I haven't updated you guys on what it looks like inside. So that's what this video is going to be. I'm just going to show you how it looks partially filled out. I'm at about 13,000 words in my first draft manuscript at the moment, so that's what it looks like now. So I did a little design in here before, but I decided I didn't like it. So I just covered this with some nice scrapbooking paper that I think sort of vibes with the book. And then I put it on this side too. And then here, I think anyone who watched the original video probably knows, but this is how many dots across and down are on these pages. This is my Archer and Olive B5 notebook, and there will be a link to this notebook, or if they still have it, if not, just to the website for this notebook if you're interested. So here's my table of contents. It's got several new items. And then these pages, I haven't filled this out yet. I need to put some check marks, at least here. My draft isn't complete, obviously, but I'm working my way through it. And then I've got some check marks for what amounts of chapters that I have written. And then I had to update my time frame and extend it a little bit. And then I put a check mark next to pages that I have done, and then X's next to pages I decided I didn't want to do. If you saw the original videos, you already saw this collage, and then now I have filled out my summary, my tagline, and a few comparative titles. So my summary as it is here is Eddie Alfaro has night terror premonitions in which she experiences the death of another person as if it's her own. She and her sibling Fred, both clairvoyants of different kinds, run a private investigation business. They primarily do the typical theft and infidelity cases for other witches who hear about them through word of mouth. But then secular femme fatale Jessica Hayes brings them a murder case, a crime she says she confirmed with her own eyes, but that the police insist never happened. And then my tagline, I came up with this very recently. It says, "Death happens to everyone, sometimes more than once." And then down here for comp titles, I have Blue is for Nightmares. I did not look up who the author was. Well, I don't remember. I think I have it on my shelf though. Give me just a moment. Yeah, Blue is for Nightmares by Lori Farias Stolars. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. And then I also have Practical Magic. I don't have the author for that one either. And I don't own that, but the book that the movie is based off of, and Jessica Jones, the comic book or the show. Then I also filled out themes. That's different from last time. I don't remember if I posted the video of this collage. I don't really like it. It was tough to do something in that small of an area, and I mismeasured the size that I needed this cutout to be. So I don't love it, but whatever. And then I changed my timeline around a little bit. Actually, in those videos, I don't think I had this filled out at all. So I have that filled out now. And then I have my hook and my inciting incident checked off, and I wrote little notes. You absolutely cannot read those because they're in yellow, but they're readable in person. That just has like a short little summary of the events in the draft that fill those roles, I guess, those necessary parts of the plot. And the same for the romantic subplot. And then this is the foreshadowing page. So I have the clue or the detail or whatever that will be important later. And then the audience, I have the chapter that they learn that, and some of my chapters aren't titled yet. And then if the characters know that in a different chapter, I write it in a different color. And we have the overview, and then I have my word count updated. I need to update this again, I think. So this is here my ideal of this range, and this is what I actually have so far. And then here is a new collage, which I will have posted on my Tumblr sometime, probably I think this week. So I will leave a link to my Tumblr in the description so you can see it in more detail if you like. And then I have for chapter 1, I have my beginning point, where are we starting off, the plot points that I need to accomplish in that chapter, and then the end goal of where the chapter needs to end in more detail. And then over here I have a floor plan for where my main characters live and work. So the bottom floor is their house. They have kitchen, living room, Eddie's room, Fred's room, and then the office space is upstairs. They have their office, and then Angel's room, which nobody lives in this book. And then over here I have a little summary of what Watchtower is. It says Fred and Eddie serve the local and surrounding covens with their clairvoyance by being private investigators. The other witches still shun them, but at least they get paid. Watchtower handles mostly missing items and infidelity cases. Usually Eddie's gift, her premonitions, isn't needed, although that doesn't stop it from tormenting her. And the Alfaros own this two-family house, and this is their logo. There is a witch type that is called Rooks that I forgot when I drew this, but I drew it now, so I'm keeping it because I don't want to redo it. Then I have a sort of D&D style class type for clairvoyance, and then their subclasses. So we have the overall class is clairvoyance, and then the subclasses are seer, which is what Eddie is, scryer, which is what Fred is, medium, which is what Angel is, oracle, and visionary, which those two types are not, I don't think they show up in a character in any of the books in the series. Then I have some notes on private investigation. These are actually outdated because when I wrote these, I had not decided yet that this book was going to be a period, and it takes place now in the early to mid 90s, except the prequel, obviously. So these are the updated notes with what is actually going to be relevant for me writing. And I have the most significant things that I will use in red, and then the other details in black. Then I have a character page for Eddie. Her character page is a little more detailed than the other character pages that we will get to, because she is the main character of this book. Again, it's kind of a little bit D&D style, even though this is not a fantasy or anything. I mean, it's kind of a fantasy, but it's not high fantasy like D&D is. But I have her class here, clairvoyant and seer, and then an alignment just to, because that's an easy way to categorize people. She is neutral good, and I have her proficiencies. These are also outdated because I wrote this page before I decided the time in the setting as well, so I have some things crossed out that are not possible for her to be good at yet. And then I have little D20s that I drew that have her stats. So she has, her strength is 9, intelligence 15, wisdom 15, dexterity 10, constitution 14, and charisma 11. Her and Fred's charismas both are pretty low because they're a little bit weird from being clairvoyant, and they can be kind of off-putting to people sometimes, even though they're not like rude or anything like that. They make people uncomfortable. And then her tarot card that represents her is Death. You can't really see the label because it's in gold gel pen, so it's shiny. But yeah, so I drew a little representation of her card, which represents her personality and her role in the narrative. And then she also has a character trope from tvtropes.com that applies to her, which is the hard-boiled detective, which is a character who is tough, cynical, and morally gray. They have street smarts, but generally solve mysteries through perseverance more than insight. They tend to have dark pasts and drink heavily, which is all true for her. And then over here I have just like trivia to keep track of details for her that I can look up if I ever forget while I'm writing what her favorite color is or whatever. And some songs that represent her. We have Sincerity is Scary by the 1985. Is that the right band number? It might be 1975. Daredevil by Fiona Apple, and SOB by Nathaniel Rateliff and the Night Slips. I hope I pronounced that correctly too. Then we have Fred and Jessica's character pages, which are, obviously I did a little illustration of her too. It doesn't really look like her, but I did my best. And they do not have those. Mostly because I just decided I did not want to spend that much amount of time on this. I mean, it still looks good and I'm doing all the colors and the drawings and everything, but I don't think I'm gonna do any more portraits. So Fred is a clairvoyant scryer. Zero alignment is chaotic good. Their tarot card is strength, proficiencies, and then he has 8 strength, 17 intelligence, 17 wisdom, 13 dexterity, 12 constitution, and also 11 charisma. And then Jessica, she's secular, which means she's not a witch. She doesn't have any powers. She's also chaotic good. Her tarot card is the Sun, and her proficiencies, and strength 14, intelligence 17, wisdom 14, dexterity 12, constitution 13, and charisma 17. She's got very high stats. And I don't really have their songs filled out yet, just Fred has Mistake by Fiona Apple. Then we have our collage for the second chapter, The Lemon Test. This is my favorite one so far, and I will also be uploading this one to my Tumblr either this week or next week. So I will leave a link to that if it is up before this video goes up. And then over here for chapter 2, we have again our beginning point, the plot points we need to hit in this chapter, and where our exact end goal is, and then check marks for, I had that in the other one too, I forgot to talk about it, so check marks in the end goal points that I achieved in that chapter, and then this arrow means to move that actually to the next chapter. So this is the chapter that I'm still drafting right now, so only one item is checked off. And then the last page I will show you today is the page for the Lemon Test, the spell that this chapter is named after, that they do in it. So it has a little description of what the spell is and this fun illustration. I did not write this spell, I found it on Tumblr, so I will leave a link to the original post for that as well. because I was unable to find it anywhere else, so I guess that person wrote it themselves. It's original. So I will leave credit for that also in the description. So there we have, that's my book Bible bullet journal so far. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, found it interesting, or just like looking at my pretty pictures. So yeah, thank you again for watching, and until next time, be well.